One of them they just called invasion of privacy. One of them they called bias intimidation, which was treated as some form of hate crime. That is, that what Ravi had done in illegally invading his privacy was criminally motivated because of the sexual orientation of his roommate, Clementi. Mark?
Hey, wasn't the big thing though that not only you had it, you also like webcast it, like you put it out there so everyone will see what happened?
I originally thought so, and that's the way it was originally reported, but the most recent thing I saw corrected that and said that it hadn't been. He hadn't put that on the web. It was, he was watching it, and I think Molly Way was watching it. He tweeted about it, but I don't think he actually put the pictures up on the web. Does it matter?
I mean, one of those things that like I live at 15 years where I grew up, and like wasn't the main issue also that like New Jersey's legal to kill people like said that no one's like on tape or something like that? Was that another issue they were having?
Not that I know of. Might have been. I mean, that's an unusual law. I mean, put it this different. What difference would it make if it was a heterosexual couple having sex?
Well, I mean, considering this homosexual heterosexual, would that change the magnitude of intrusion? Because like you actually say something crime is homosexual, or just because it's proven on tape?
Yeah, I take it if it was a heterosexual couple, there couldn't be any bias, there couldn't be any hate crime.
So you actually case that you actually case hate crime, or just speculative?
Well, for our purposes, I'm interested in the answer to these questions. Does Clementi have claims for invasion of privacy, either by publication of private facts or by intrusion? I say the parents can't sue because even though they lost their son, they can't sue for invasion of his privacy because the right to privacy is a personal one that dies with the person. Roger?
Could he argue that it wasn't intrusion because he lives in that room? Like, the fact that he's in the
Yeah, he was quoted as telling the police, it was my room too.
right, like he had the same access to that space.
Right. Does that eliminate the claim for intrusion? What do you think?
For as wrong as it is, I feel like it almost does because it's a shared space. And
It's a known shared space, but what's the question? If the question is, was this intrusion? Johanna?
I'm pretty sure Tyler wouldn't have hooked up with anybody with his roommate's room, so they must have agreed. I have room tonight, you go, and wouldn't have done it again, no, they have like months.
Probably. Isn't that the way it works in college?
Because you believe that his roommate wasn't there, you wouldn't have done it.
Probably. But let's assume, to follow Audrey's hypothetical, let's assume that there was no such discussion. No meeting of the minds. This is your room for the next hour. Was there intrusion? Well, the first question is this a place or matter in which Clementi had a reasonable expectation of privacy? Yeah, or did he have would a reasonable person expect privacy in that situation? Anybody think not? Doesn't it seem right? Would, yeah. So then, was the intrusion via camera highly offensive to a reasonable person because of its motive or its manner, or both? And what was the motive? To embarrass him, or just to, I mean, watching pornography is not to embarrass the actors, right? I mean, yeah, Veronica?
That's if he put it on the so just the fact that he put it he was watching his movie option makes this motive like the responsive here. Because it's not just being there, it's about taking him and like taking his roommate. When we know he made it.
You don't think it's just a sophomoric prank?
Still a bad
A sophomoric prank is a bad motive? Punishable?
Well, I mean, it's essential option for people that is fairly private. It's like how people other than anyone would notify it. They couldn't be out there showing it not just to himself, but another person. That's wrong. And the intention behind it was not a, or this is, and the guy that was watching it wasn't okay, so he wasn't watching it for sexual purposes, he was watching it to see how it was weird or whatever. Had been weird.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't just a kind of wrong time.
He wasn't doing it for the money
Yeah.
or the fame. I don't know, maybe fame among his peers that he could disclose it. Higher. Does negligence per se have what?
Well, like, is there, could Kansas City come back because what the guy knew, what he did was wrong? Otherwise, it would have been in that group.
No, negligence per se doesn't apply there. Negligence per se applies only when you violate a statute that's for the protection of a certain class of people. Yeah. Was going to post it. That may well be what happened. I don't know what difference does it make to intrusion?
Well, no, the question is that what his motive was doing that. That's why he went back to the reason they say that his motive was used and not actually trying to do that.
Mm-hmm. Well, and then you say that it was not only bad motive but bad manner. That the manner was highly offensive to a reasonable person. Why is that? You want to answer that? What's wrong with the manner? Why is the manner of intrusion highly offensive to a reasonable person? No, we're talking about what they did, not why they did it. Not what was in their head, but what Ravi did. Well, let's hold that for just a second. Let's finish up with intrusion. But you don't want to confuse somebody stealing. I mean, Ravi, a lawyer, argued that he was concerned about this 30-year-old lover whom he didn't know and didn't have any reason to trust, and whether the lover might steal Ravi's stuff. And therefore, he set up the camera, which would be a plausible, good motive, right? Well, we have to consider, the court has instructed us, we have to consider both motive and method. Manner we've talked about. What's wrong with this method, seems you, Veronica? It was surreptitious. The surveillance was secret. And unconsented to, clearly. Wasn't. Well, it strikes me that this is the type of method that the court had in mind in Schulman that said this could easily be highly offensive. It's not asking questions. What are you guys doing in there? It's secretly recording an intimate activity and likely would be considered highly offensive to a reasonable person. So intrusion, it looks like, would fit those circumstances. Now, what about publication of private facts?
Before that, so the method that we're actually talking about from the recorded for this.
No, the method means the way you're gathering the information, the way you're doing the intrusion. Is it by long lenses and microphones and webcams and so on, or is it by, hey, what happened here? That's the method. So, publication of private facts?
I think you should at least consider when you say that you have this, contact with class early about cancel or something getting hard or like would under like a very big capital can you then be restricted from putting something out on Twitter? And it seems like you should be able to make posts about stuff that's going on in the space.
Well, let's try and do it systematically. What has to be shown in order for there to be a valid claim of publication of private facts? Publication. Was there publication here? In two forms, I take it, right? One was the display to Molly Way, and the other was via Twitter, where he's talking about what's going on. And then, I guess we got to go back one. Publication of private facts. Is this a disclosure of private facts? No question about that, right? Even in a college dormitory, even in a shared space, private facts. Whose disclosure is highly offensive to a reasonable person. Any doubt about that? And the facts are not newsworthy. Definitely not. Not newsworthy. Not a matter of public concern. And therefore, that's the end of it? Not quite, because you have to look to the Florida Star analysis. If New Jersey, which is where this happened, determined, as we just did, that all four elements of the tort were met, then does the First Amendment step in and say, but New Jersey, you can't protect the privacy of Tyler Clementi in that way because the First Amendment prevents liability. Truthful information? Yeah. Lawfully acquired? Don't know. Don't know about that. I don't know what New Jersey law is like on that. Some laws, like California, have restrictions on what can be recorded without your consent. Like a phone conversation in California can't be recorded without the consent of both parties to the conversation. So I don't know about lawfully obtained, but we don't know whether unlawful acquisition necessarily torpedoes First Amendment protection. It's about a matter of public concern? No way. So that may end the First Amendment analysis without it having to get to the fine-tuning, the narrow tailoring of whether the interests protected by the law are served here. Okay? I think the camera was visible. I don't know that they knew it was on and transmitting, but I think the camera was probably visible, sitting there pointing at them. What difference would it make? Well, it goes to the consent issue, I suppose. If they know that they're being recorded on video, I mean, consent is always a defense to any kind of tort. You consent to the wrongful behavior, you can't sue over it. But you're talking to yourself or me or somebody back there.
Well, since he committed suicide over it, I think that's a fair use.
Yeah, I mean, the suicide really did provoke the prosecution, obviously, and have an enormous effect on it. One can question whether it is legally relevant and proper to consider the fact that he committed suicide in deciding the privacy issues. Alex, do you have some?
Was he charged for suicide?
Was what?
Was he charged for causing
No,
suicide?
no, no, not at all. What? I don't remember either. She was initially charged, I think, and probably pleaded to something. But she did try. The prosecution offered to Robbie a sweet plea bargain, which he rejected. And now he's looking at serious prison time. Okay.